shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. My eyes done seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. It's time to switch it up, put the hip shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. My eyes done seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help.
Money. All you guys are not wrong being wealthy. Like Kanye West says, having money is not everything. Not having it is. No, dude, don't ever be 18. There's God gives us the ability to create wealth. No, it's the love of money that's rewarding. You don't like money so much, why you get up and about all the things that you think you got to say. I'm just trying to leave a legacy for money. That's not everything, but when you got it, you can do some cool stuff. Now, your host for Talking Money in the Morning, financial health mentor to the working class, H Cortez.
Good morning, everybody. It is your main man, H Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the working class, where I do my very best to bring practical yet proven wealth building strategies to working class men and women all over this great country of ours. I truly count it a blessing, an honor, and a privilege that you guys have decided to join me this morning. If you guys are checking us out on Facebook, can you type okay in the chat if you can hear the audio okay? Don't want to do another show with the audio not right and have nobody not tell me. I've done that before. So let me know that you can hear the audio just fine if you're watching this on Facebook. And then go ahead and share this stream on your timeline, guys. We're going to talk about a very, very powerful subject this morning. Mark Wells, thank you, brother. Thank you, Melvin Babs. Talk about a very powerful subject this morning. How to use the tax code to build wealth. I don't know if you guys are tracking our situation, especially in the Black community, our plight from a wealth building standpoint, but the government is not trying to help, right? Banks aren't loaning us any money. So basically, you're going to have to build your wealth from scratch. And one of the best ways to do that is by using the tax code. So we're going to talk about that today. But before we go any further, you guys know, I have to let you know exactly who this show is for. If you got up this morning getting ready to pull an outcast, meaning you're about to get up, get out, and get something, and don't let all your time pass you by, this show is for you. If you went to bed last night visualizing where you're going to be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now, this show is for you. If you woke up this morning with legacy on your brain, you're thinking about your grandkids, your great-grandchildren, you're thinking about what you can do today to make your great-great-grandchildren proud to bear your name, this show is for you. Now, you may have the desire to build wealth, you may have the discipline to build wealth, but maybe you're lacking in the game plan area. Maybe you need a mentor, maybe you need some strategies, some help. Well, this show, my friend, is for you. But just like we talk about who this show is for, let's talk about who the show is not for, right? This show is not for those people who believe capitalism is bad, who think money is evil. This show is not for you guys. So you can tune us out and we won't feel any way about that. If you're sitting back waiting for Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton to fix the economy instead of focusing on your economy, this show ain't for you because historically, it doesn't matter who's in, who's out. The number of millionaires, newly wealthy people has always gone up year in and year out. So it doesn't matter if Democrats are in, Republicans are in. It's all about you focusing on your economy. If you don't like the fact that I just said the word money 30 times in the last 25 seconds, this show is not for you. Now, let's be clear. I do not have a problem with you not wanting to be wealthy. Your prerogative. I have a problem with you having a problem with me wanting to be wealthy, because just like you don't want to be wealthy, you want to settle for average. That's your prerogative. It's my prerogative to want to be wealthy. It's my prerogative to reach my goal of being a future billionaire. So I know that rubs some people the wrong way, but if that is you, this show is not for you. Today's show is sponsored by St. Louis Small Business Expo. It's going down at Qtopia this Saturday, August 27th from 1 to 4 p.m. Address over at Qtopia is 11824 West Florissant, St. Louis, Missouri, 63033. Phone number over there is 314-830-1200. If you want more information on the actual event, I want you to send a friend request or an instant message to Bria Harris. It's Bria Harris, owner of Verified Berries. She's one of the organizers of this particular event. So again, that's a Small Business Expo. I will be there giving out free consultations. So come hang out with me, about 20 other young entrepreneurs from the St. Louis area, displaying our gifts, talents, product, services, and you can learn what we are bringing to the St. Louis business community. Now, let's get it on, guys, because this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. Probably by far the simplest way to build wealth, because you may have heard me say this on this show before, but there's 3 ways to accumulate wealth here in America. You buy it, build it, or you steal it. Let me say that again. There's 3 ways to accumulate wealth in America. You can buy it, build it, or steal it. Right now, we're not talking about stealing wealth, but we understand that this entire country was stolen, right? So we know that you can steal wealth, but that's not what we're talking about today. Today, we're going to talk about building wealth, and then how you can later buy wealth with the money that you generate from building wealth. And one of the main tools that you use to build wealth in America is the United States tax code. Now, guess what? It's no different than any other tool. Just like money is a tool, just like capitalism is a tool. Most tools, there are few people who know how to use those tools effectively. You think about something as simple as a hammer, right? Do you think a carpenter, a master carpenter, knows how to use a hammer more effectively than the average Joe who's just trying to drive a nail, right? Do you think a master builder knows how to use a measuring tape a little bit better than the average Joe who's just trying to center a picture on the wall, right? So we're talking about understanding how to use the tool. In this case, we're talking about the tool of the United States tax code to build wealth, but we will mingle in the tool of capitalism as well as the tool of money, because all 3 components are needed to build wealth. So I want you to understand something. Why is it that most people will refuse to use the tax code to build wealth? One reason is most people have been taught to fear the IRS. And it's by design. We are being socially conditioned day in and day out to move along a certain direction and a certain path. But once you wake up, which a lot of people have, but they are still afraid to take a step, to take a leap of faith, to take a move or daily actions to get them where they want to be. They're sitting back waiting for something to happen or someone else to make a move that they can benefit from, instead of them being the one to make the move so that they and them families can benefit off of that move. So, excuse me, understand this. When our government wants to encourage you to do something, they basically pay you. Now, they don't just give you cash and say, hey, we want you to do this, so we're going to give you cash. The way they pay you is they incentivize you by reducing your tax liability, right? Because everybody who comes into this country or is born into this country has a tax liability. All right, now we can get into why that is. We can get into your birth certificates and all that stuff, but we won't go there this morning. But everybody born in this country has a tax liability because you were born into a bankrupt country. And they are leveraging our labor to acquire money, currency, to keep this thing afloat. I'll just put it like that. So because of that, you're born into a country and you're already under a certain debt obligation as it relates to how much taxes you are required to pay. So instead of them giving you money, they say, you know what, if we want you to do something, we'll give you a tax break, because that's the same thing. If I have to give you less money, then I'm able to keep that. So that's just like you giving me money. So in order for them to get the American people to do something that they want us to do, then they will give us a tax break. For instance, I go buy an energy efficient washer and dryer. Do they give me a tax break for that? Yep. I go and buy an energy efficient furnish an AC unit? Will they give me a tax break for that? Yep. Why are they giving me a tax break? Because they want to incentivize me to reduce my carbon footprint, right? I go buy a house, take out a loan, I mortgage a home. Do they give me a tax break for that? Yeah, the interest that I pay on that loan is tax deductible, right? Why do they give me that incentive? Because they know, excuse me, when you're owning a home, I will give you the surface answer, right? Not the real answer, the surface answer. When you own a home, then they know most people will stick and stay in a community. And when you own a home and you're planning to be in a community for a while, then you actually take ownership of that community. And then you start building that community and you keeping it up. So they give you an incentive for buying a home versus renting a home. So every time the government wants you to do something, they will give you an incentive by giving you a tax break, which in turn puts more money in your pocket for doing said thing, right? Well, we're going to talk about using the tax code to build wealth. And from this perspective, and maybe we'll get into a couple other ways that you can do that. And then I'm going to jump over to the Financial Health Mentor financial calculator and show you how some of these savings can really add up and what you can do with some of this money. So if you can get a tax break for your house, you get a couple of them for that. You get a tax break for getting married. You get a tax break for having children. You get a couple for that. You get a tax break for reducing your carbon footprint. Those are all things that we understand that we can do legally, ethically, and morally and have legitimate tax write-offs. And when we sit down with our CPA, our tax preparer, or whomever does our taxes, we have no issue claiming those tax deductions. Well, why is it that if there are over 450 tax deductions for you having a home-based business, why don't more Americans have home-based businesses? Do you think the government wants you in business? Yes. You know why? Because when you start a business and that business grows, you're going to need more employees. The more employees you create in your business, the more people for the government to tax because you're giving them an income. So they give you tax breaks to do that. Over 450 of them. So why aren't more people operating in a home-based business? Because they simply don't know. And then those who do know are afraid, because even when you have a home-based business, you're reluctant to claim those tax deductions. I said when you buy that energy efficient appliance or put new windows in your house that's going to save, or insulate your attic, and when you sit down with your tax preparer, they got those questions. They say, did you do this to cut energy costs? You say, oh yeah, I can get some savings there, right? And you're excited about that. But when they say, do you have a home-based business? Most of us do. We've all been a part of some sort of home-based business. We've all done something where we made a few dollars on the side out of the home, but then we crawl into a shell and we don't want to claim those deductions. Well, that's where your biggest savings are. So that's what I want to talk to you today about, is tax minimization strategies, or in other words, using the tax code to build wealth, primarily through a home-based business. There's some other things that you can do to also benefit from the tax code. How about putting money away? Most people don't realize when you put money into your 401k, or you put money into an IRA or some sort of investment vehicle, that money is reduced from your taxable income. So we're going to talk about how powerful that is. I'm going to show you some numbers and show you how it's been effective in my own personal life with some of the numbers that I'm able to use because I have a home-based business. So let's talk about number one thing that you probably should take a look at if you're talking about using the tax code to build wealth. Everybody, when they got their job, well, let me do this. I forgot to get my disclaimer on record, right? So I'm not a tax professional. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a financial planner or anything like that. I am a financial educator, and I just teach practical strategies that I've applied in my life that have gotten me the results that I have. I've done my research. So I ask that if you are going to use any of these strategies, then do your own research. Run them by your tax professional. Run them by your financial planner, whoever's helping you with your money, who's got the certifications to back that up. This information that I'm sharing is for informational purposes only. All right, now I've got my disclaimer on record. So we're talking about looking at your W-4 form first. Number one, when you work a job, when you make 100% of your income through a job, like 95% of Americans do, you are taxed the absolute most in income tax. Point blank, period. No question, not even a close second. Employees are taxed the most. All right, so your philosophy says I work, I get taxed, and then I try to spend on what's left. That's why we're struggling, because working class people are taxed the most. And that's just your income tax, which tracks at about 28 to 33%. Then you add gas tax, school tax, real estate tax, personal property tax. You are taxed out the wazoo. By the time you finish paying taxes through everything that you're taxed on, your taxes bill is like 60, 70%. And you wonder why you're struggling, because you're trying to live off 30% of your income, but you don't realize that's what's happening to you. So number one, when you make 100% of your income through a job, you are taxed the most. Number two, most people who work a job have their W-4 form filled out incorrectly. We're talking about 8 out of 10 people. What is the W-4 form? That's your tax withholding allowance certificate that says to your employer, take out this amount of money from my check so that you cover my tax liability. So at the end of the year, I don't owe Uncle Sam and Uncle Sam doesn't owe me. Is that happening today in America, where we're just breaking even at the end of every year? No, we're overpaying, and that's why we're getting so many tax refunds. Last year, the IRS cut 100 million tax refund checks. That means 100 million people overpaid their taxes. We're just taxed to death. I tell you, night. Yeah, we are taxed to death and even taxed in death, because somebody's got to pay taxes on the coffin that they're going to use to bury you. So yeah, you are certainly absolutely right in that regard. But there are some things that you can do to overcome your tax liability. Number one, you got to revisit that W-4 form, make sure it's filled out incorrectly. If they sent out 100 million tax refund checks, that means 100 million people overpaid their taxes, and usually they're doing that by way of filling out that W-4 form incorrectly. So if you want a consultation on the W-4 form, let me know. I'll give you a contact number, or you can send me an instant message and we can talk about that privately. The second thing that you could do to minimize your tax liability, to start using the tax code to build wealth, is you can start a home-based business. We've all been endowed by our Creator with some sort of gift, talent, or special ability that we can monetize. And sometimes we look at the ability to monetize a gift or a talent, and we only see business in the grandest of scales. Well, no, I'm telling you today, the IRS requires 3 things in order for you to take advantage of the tax code. They require that you work your business in an attempt to make a profit. They require that you work your business on a regular and consistent basis. They require that you keep good records. Right? Now, understand, just the attempt to make a profit allows you to access 450 tax deductions that are available to you. Do you have to actually make a profit? No. Amazon didn't turn a profit for the first 10 years or so, right? But do you think they were not able to take advantage of all of the tax deductions? Do you think they did not write off the salaries they paid their employees? Do you think they did not write off the infrastructure, the money that they spent to build their shipping infrastructure and all of that kind of stuff? You better believe it. So you get to use your business expenses even when you're not yet in the profit. It's understood that most businesses, when they begin, don't turn a profit right away, but you get to take those tax advantages, because when Uncle Sam is expecting you to eventually grow your business, and as you grow, you're keeping money moving in the economy, you're providing services, you're providing jobs, you're giving more people for Uncle Sam to tax when you hire employees and things of that nature. So you certainly should be using this to take advantage of. Now, from a wealth building perspective, we've all heard it said that it's not necessarily what you make, it's more so what you keep. So I encourage everyone to start a home-based business, because you're allowed to keep more of the money that would ordinarily be going to Uncle Sam. The adjusting of the W-4 form just to fill it out correctly is one phase. Another phase is if you have a home-based business, there's a second adjustment that you can make to keep more of your hard-earned money on the front end versus overpaying Uncle Sam and waiting on a refund. So that's very, very powerful. I hope you get this. I'm going to give you some numbers here in a second. We're going to jump over to the Financial Health Mentor Calculator, and I'm going to show you how this can benefit you. Secondly, starting a home-based business and working it in an attempt to make a profit. Put a operating center for your business in your home. Why? Because now you qualify for the home office tax deduction. That means the square footage of your home, a percentage of your rent, mortgage, utilities, everything that you're spending to maintain your home now becomes tax deductible. So again, we're talking about money that normally would be going to Uncle Sam is now being saved and kept by you. So we're talking about what you can do with that money. We're talking about meals and entertainment, business travel. We're talking about paying wages to your children. Instead of you spending all of this money on your kids, put them to work in your business, pay them a salary. Now they take the money you pay them, and then they go pay their club fees for basketball in my case. They go pay, buy all of their school supplies. Even some of the people that I coach have kids in private school. So they shift their income from their job through their home-based business, pay their children to work, and then their children go and pay their own tuition for private school, guys. We're talking about saving money, keeping more of the money that you work hard for in your pocket so that you can literally start building wealth. But it takes a mindset shift first, and then you need some strategies, maybe a coach or mentor. I'm certainly open to helping anyone. In fact, I have a special offer that we'll run over as we get to the end of the show to help you get to where you want to be. But let's do this. Let me do a quick screen share, and I'm just going to give you my personal testimony, how this has worked for me in my life, and show you what the potential benefits are of using the tax code to build wealth. All right, so let me share a screen real quick. Go to the Financial Health Mentor Calculator. Let me get this out of here. Well, I've already got this in there because I was playing around with it. I was just wondering what it looked like. All right, so for me, I was one of those people who had not adjusted my W-4 form. I'd been working on my job 10 years or so before someone shared and taught me this information. For me, I was overpaying my taxes by $275 per month. Now, that's $3,300 per year. Guys, if you had $3,300 per year, could that help you build some wealth? Certainly it could, but you got to understand how the tax game is played and how to use this tool to build wealth. So just conservatively, I said, if I took that $275, I invested it at an 8% rate return every month for 20 years, just that small $275 a month that I was giving to Uncle Sam too much, I brought it back in my household and started investing it. In 20 years, that'll grow to $161,980.61. Is that a significant amount of wealth to pass down to my children? Especially if I'm going to pass down to them the knowledge that it takes to grow that wealth, so they will start out of the gate with 161,000 versus starting from zero, and then they can build on top of that. But guys, it gets even better, because the average person that I coach or mentor will save on average $12,000 to $15,000 per year in taxes based on the strategies that we teach. But let's do this. Let's just say I help you bring an additional $5,000 a year back into your household. So some people, when they adjust their W-4 form, can get anywhere from $500 to $800 per month back in their household, especially if you're dealing with couples. Most time, both husband and wife got that W-4 all jacked up, so you both can adjust those W-4s. And we're talking about bringing $800 to $1,000 back into your household. But just say, for the sake of being conservative, you got you were in my situation. So just by adjusting it, you got $275 per month back, or that's $3,300 per year, right? And then you turned around and you got, because you wrote off a portion of your mortgage, some of the miles that you drove, you started driving for business and taking care of business on the road and things of that nature. Some of the vacations you then mixed in business, so some of those vacations became write-offs. Some of the meals that you had because you talked business became tax write-offs. You start paying wages to your children as they helped you in your business, and you brought back, or you saved an additional $5,000 per year, because that's what it equates to. You can have anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000 in tax deductions per year that can reduce your taxable income. So for instance, if I had $15,000 in taxable tax deductions, I earned $50,000 on my job. That's going to reduce my taxable income from $50,000 to $35,000. So even if I'm taxed 33% on $35,000, it's far better than being taxed 33% on $50,000, and that's a savings of about $5,000 to $8,000. So we're going to say, for the sake of this, example, you brought back $3,300 a year just from adjusting the W-4 form. And in addition, with all of your tax deductions, the net result of that was an additional $5,000. So we all know simple math, that is $8,300. So $8,300 is what you got per year just by implementing these strategies. If we divide that by 12, then we'll get a monthly total. So $8,300 divided by 12, that's $691. All right. So now let's go into what we could do, because this is what's happening in my life. $691 being freed up because I'm using the tax code to build wealth. So if I took that $691 and I invested it at the same 8% rate of return, which, by the way, you can get a lot better rates of return than that. I know you don't believe me because you believe that you get 1% on the savings, 3% on a CD, because that's the game. They give you 1% on the savings or less than 1%. So when they sell you a CD, you believe that you've gotten your hands on something. But I promise you guys, if you didn't watch my show last week on how I showed you how to go into Vanguard and look at some of their funds, and I showed you a fund that was tracking at 10.59% rate of return since 1985. So understand that you can get great rates of returns. You just got to know what to do. But that 691, 8% rate of return for 20 years, if we calculate that, that's $407,000, guys, that you'll be able to pass down to your children by using a simple strategy. And guess what? We hadn't even talked about making any money in your business. We're just talking simply strategies. Just the attempt to make money can bring this type of income back into your life. Now, naturally, you go into business to turn a profit. So you take this $691 in savings, and then you add maybe another $1,000, maybe another $1,000 in profit, right? So if we add, let's just do this. We add another $500 a month in profit from your business. So now we're looking at $1,191. All right, and then we calculate that same rate of return, same terms, 20 years. Now you're talking about $701,000, guys. So you got to understand that the tax code is a powerful tool, but you need to learn how to use that tool to build wealth. Now, this is not tax evasion. This is not tax avoidance. We're not saying don't pay your taxes. One thing I know about wealthy people is they never pay any more in taxes than they absolutely have to. So that's what you have to understand about this whole deal. So I talked about a little bit of a special offer. Guys, I teach this stuff, and I'm doing shows, I'm doing videos, I do workshops, because I want our people to understand that stop waiting for a handout, stop waiting for the government, stop crying about the banks not loaning Black people any money. You can build wealth from scratch if you understand a few strategies. I'm on a crusade to help families build wealth from scratch, but I need some help. I need to be able to train, mentor, and coach other people into putting themselves in position where they can start training and educating others. Now, you don't have to do videos. You don't have to do a daily show. You can leverage what I'm doing and just plug people into them. But if you're serious about, you know what, I want to learn this stuff for me first, I want to learn it for my children second, but then, yes, I want to share it with my immediate family, then I want you to text the word franchise to 314-874-6887. So text your name and the word franchise to 314-874-6887. And I want to help you set up your own financial education franchise so we can start teaching and training others on these strategies, so we can first lift the burden of being strapped financially. Secondly, pass down the financial IQ, raise the financial IQ in our community. And when you raise the financial IQ, wealth begins in the mind, then it shows up in the wallet or pocketbook. Now you got enough people who are economically empowered personally, and that creates an economically empowered community. And guess what? You can't develop a community without capital. So when you do it through personal financial success, now you got the capital to develop your community. So I'm looking for people who may want to partner with me. Now, granted, what I do isn't for everybody. We're talking about this is a business opportunity. So you will be in business, and not everybody can run a business, but maybe you know somebody who can run a business like this, and you supply the capital to get them started, to get them moving, and you guys split ownership. There's a lot of ways to be in business without having to run a business, guys, and you can take advantage of the tax code all the same. So guys, we're at the bottom of the hour. We're a couple minutes over. Let me shout out my sponsor once more, St. Louis Small Business Expo. It's going down at Qtopia here in St. Louis. The address is 11824 West Florissant Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63033. Phone number over there is 314-830-1200. If you want looking for a booth space, I'm not sure if any is available, but you can send an instant message to Tasha. I'm gonna give you that number one more time, and then I'm also gonna put it in the chat. If you want to look for booth space, I'm not sure if any is available, but send a friend request or an instant message to Bria Harris on Facebook. She's the owner of Verified Berries. They do some custom berries for your events and things of that nature. So inbox her on Facebook, BRIA Harris, and she can give you more details on the actual event. So again, if you're serious, guys, and I'm gonna let the cat out the bag. This is normally a $200 program that I'm so desperate to get other people to help me spread this message that you can come on board for just $70 and $35 per month. I don't know anywhere that you can go and get the type of financial education that you're going to get here for just $70 and $35 a month. And on top of that, you get a franchise that will allow you to grow and build wealth from scratch. That number, text your name and the word wealth, your name and the word franchise to 314-874-6887, and I'll get you all the details on what we do, how we do it, how you can partner with us, how the compensation is laid out, and all of that good stuff, guys. But I need families that want to join this crusade and help lift the community first with knowledge, financial education, then practical strategies, and helping guide and mentor them in actually the application of those strategies. And then last but not least, guys, I just talked a little bit briefly about taking your money, putting it in a place where you're going to get 10, 12, 314-874-6887. You got it. Thanks for putting that in for me, Tasha. Text the word franchise and your name to that number, and we are good. I'll get you the details. Can't promise you're going to like what it is that we do and how we do it. But if you're looking for a way to make some extra money and get your financial IQ up at the same time and serve your community, this is probably the best way that you can do that. So I'm your main man, H Cortez, financial health mentor to the working class. Until I talk to you in tomorrow's show, remember, tomorrow is Q&A Friday. I call it Free Game Friday because even though I give away free game every day, I usually do it on a particular topic. But tomorrow, you can text your question to, or you can inbox me your question. Also, if you inbox me your question, inbox me the name of your business or your brand, because I want to shout you out and let you get some pub and some notoriety for your business. And then I'll answer your question on air live tomorrow. So it's Q&A Friday tomorrow. So get your questions in to me. Of course, if you just joined the show, you can ask your question in the chat if you're on Facebook Live. If you're on YouTube, then you have to put your question in the comment for today's show, and I will roll that over to tomorrow's show. We'll get your questions asked and answered live on the air. So I love you guys. Appreciate you guys for tuning in each and every morning. I know it's early for some of you guys, and you tune in faithfully, and I certainly appreciate it. All the comments that you leave, adding value to the conversation. I appreciate all of that stuff, man. You guys share the streams all the time, so I'm just eternally grateful. And I'm just trying to really just lift the financial IQ of our community, because we're falling too far behind financially. And it's primarily because we just don't know some of these strategies, tips, and education that I provide. So until I talk to you in tomorrow's Free Game Friday, get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. I'm out. Peace.